Hello and greetings from northern Ghana, Tamale. It's a beautiful day today. It's a little cloudy. The birds are chirping, and I'm sitting on the footsteps of our door. I hope that you are all doing well wherever you are. If this is your first time of coming across this, we are a channel that deal with cattle and backyard gardening, and how to be able to raise cattle in small places in urban areas. Okay, to ensile, you need to cut the grass or corn stalk or whatever you are going to use for the ensiling into smaller bits, and we are using the chaff cutter to help us do that. You can see that they have been cut into smaller fine bits, and the reason why you cut them into that size, one, is to aid the bacteria be able to reach a larger surface area, and two, to be able to aid compaction, because when they are in smaller bits they are able to compact better. You need it to compact because you need all the air out in order for anaerobic respiration to take place. When that happens, fermentation can be able to take place and it is acidified. Now, one of the mistakes we learned the hard way was we went and bought the fertilizer bags with the very thin linings inside it, and when we compacted to some stage, we put a vacuum cleaner to suck out the rest of the air from the top. We quickly realized that the grass was perforating the lining. That means that it will not be able to aid in aerobic respiration, which was a loss for us. So we had to go the expensive route, which was to buy barrels and then do the compaction. So this is the barrel compaction that we did in order to be able to make our silage. There are other ways you can do it apart from using the barrels. There are also some silage bags which unfortunately we didn't get. There's also surface silaging, and others also cut the grass fresh, chop them into smaller bits, and then they they use the baler to bale it, and then they wrap it in a cling film so that air cannot pass. But in our case, this is what we had. So we put in a little grass, then someone goes in, compacts it by stepping into it, then we add more, we keep topping it like that. As they are stepping, we check to make sure that it's compacted, then we move, we keep doing that until we are able to do a compact it to the brim. Now, when it gets to the brim, we make sure that we have excess at the top. We have excess grass at the top, and that excess grass is to make sure to be certain that the compaction has actually been very effective. If you have excess and then you compact and it keeps going down, that means that it's not 100% effective. So is to make sure that it is 100% effective. So that's what we do. Now, the anaerobic respiration, how the whole silage and anaerobic respiration thing is that when anaerobic respiration occurs, some alcohols are released, so it becomes acidic. Okay, it becomes acidic. Now, when it becomes acidic, it is being preserved, and not only is it being preserved, but it also makes it palatable, and then the animals want that. Any ruminant usually like the aroma and the taste of the grass. Now, because we are using grass, we did not add any molasses or sugars or starches into it, because the grass is also high in carbohydrates. So we did not need to add that. But if you are not using that, you may need to add some molasses to it. And if you are using things like only the corn stalk without the corn itself, you will need to add urea to it in order to help break it down. So when you compact and then you get to the brim, what you would now need to do is to get maybe some plastic covering to put at the very top. Get the plastic covering and then you put at the very top. That is to ensure that no oxygen is getting in after the compaction. Remember, the goal is to make sure that the thing does not have a supply of oxygen, because when oxygen enters, it will mold, which is what we do not want. So you see that we have put a rubber on the barrel, and then we step on it very hard to make sure that it goes down and it can be able to close. Then we are using a metallic ring around it in order to be able to hold it tight and seal it. With that, we are certain that no air is getting into the barrel and fermentation can be able to take place, or silaging can be able to do what take place. Now we were able to get about 6 barrels, and which we use to silage, and that is just about half of what we harvested the second time. We fed them some of the dry one we did the first harvest, and that is what is left in the big bag which he is standing on. And the second harvest is what we are doing now. We were able to fully use 6 barrels, and even with the 6 barrels, that's just half of it, half of it, and there was still a whole lot more. That means we still have more work to do. Because we didn't have more barrels, we decided that what was left, we'll dry it, and then see how it dries, and we'll store that, and we'll make other ways to be able to harvest more. So as you can see, that's the brachiaria grass that is drying, looking a little brown. And then beside it, there was some beans. There was a farmer who did his beans, but unfortunately for him, it got run over by a lot of weeds. So he pulled them out and gave them to us. So we are also drying that, because you cannot feed them with fresh, very fresh legumes like that, they'll bloat. So that's why we are drying them out, at least to get them wilted, or dry before we can feed it to the animals. And this is the dry hay that we mixed with rice bran, a little salt, then corn bran, and then with brachiaria grass, and we are feeding them in the tubs, and they really enjoy it. So this is probably the one they'll get for now. We'll store all the others for the dry season. So see you in our next video. If you subscribe to us, you'll get more updates. We'll try maybe some surface silaging, and then we'll compare the two, because the surface silaging is relatively cheaper than the drum silage. We will keep you updated, and God bless you.